Sorry, other video got cut out for technical difficulties.
So,
i.e. somebody walking up and talking smack.
Okay, so I've gotten them all tight. I'm just gonna go through with my stubby ratchet by hand and snug them down tight. A lot of guys use a torque wrench. I feel it's unnecessary to use a torque wrench myself. I've done so many. So I just go through, make sure I have a good seat on it, and give it just a nice little snugness with my hand. Sometimes I just add a little bit with the other hand, and that ensures we have a good sealing on our fire ring that goes next to the pintle, and our O-rings are seated. And now we've seen on a couple groups where people have had issues with these. You want to make sure your Scantron, your letters, whatever you want to call them, comes up. So when you go to hook up your injector, they plug right in like so. You want your clips to be up. You don't want your clips to be sideways or on the bottom. Just up is relatively from the factory and the easiest way to get them on and off.
I don't know if you can hear it, but it makes just a slight audible click as it locks down.
Right. Now let me grab my tool and show you how to align the nipples. So like how I was showing you, give them kind of a wiggle test. When you first pull them out, you're gonna move them. So it's okay for them to be a little off kilter, like that one's tilted that way, that one's in that way. But I have this little alignment tool that is what you take them out with, but just putting them in there, straightening them out. So when you go to put them back in, that they're all in line, they'll be right in line with your injectors, and less chance of tearing any of your brand new injector O-rings that sit in top of the solenoid of your injector. And we'll lube those as well. Very important that everything goes back together nice and smooth. Without that, you could tear an O-ring and then wonder why you have a hard start after it warms up. You're leaking high pressure oil. Okay, now we have
Grab the standpipe.
the standpipe that we'll go and look at the O-ring real quick just to make sure it's got a nice fat bevel to it still. And we think we're going to run it.
Customers opted out on changing out the pinholes, he goes, as long as they're not flopping. But here's what it is.
Want to make sure when we get these in there, it goes into the branch tube. So we put it in, it goes in the back here. Kind of have to wiggle around a little bit. You'll feel it. Okay, there's that. And then, grab one more tool. sure there's something else we could use, but I used the end of one of my old screwdrivers. Stick it on the down pipe and push it down. You can feel it seat nice. And once you have that down, the log goes back in. Now, most likely there's still going to be oil in here. You want to try not to get as much oil on the exhaust as possible, but what I do is I stand it up straight, tilt it down, kind of align it into my injectors first, and then once I have it where I feel like it's in all the injectors and now the down tube, sometimes you have to give it a nice little push.
There you heard it click on. It's basically the mounting points meeting the mounting points.
And now we have our T30 Torx bolts going back in. Nothing special or torque sequence on these because they go down. You just want to go over them twice. Once you get one nice and tight. Again, I don't torque these. I've done so many that it's not needed for my applications. If you're new to it, go ahead and torque it. You over tighten these, you'll pull threads. Once you pull threads, you have to pull everything back apart and helicoil the upper valve cover. The lower valve cover has to be drilled and helicoiled, which then puts metal all over everything. It's not a fun sight. It's nothing you want to do. So here we go.
Take your time. All right, I'm gonna sit here. All right, on to the next video.